Today's clip is from the movie Ip Man, the first one in the series of the Ip Man movies. In this clip we see a man we will call the Northerner who has come to Fo Shan with the intent of setting up his own martial arts academy. In order to set up his own martial arts academy, the Northerner realizes that he first must make a name for himself. Fo Shan is already famous for martial artists, and there are many martial arts masters to choose from for any student who wants to learn the martial arts. So the Northerner has come to Fo Shan to challenge the other masters in order to establish himself as a master in his own right. His first target is going to be this fellow here in the maroon. The Northerner walks up to this fellow and asks him if he teaches martial arts here. The fellow doesn't even answer, he just says, "Come in if you want to learn," whereupon he asks if he is the master. The fellow in maroon answers he is, and the Northerner introduces himself as Jin. He says he comes to Fo Shan to practice with Fo Shan's martial artists because he hears that it is famous. The fellow in maroon isn't terribly pleased. He finally figures out what Jin wants. He wants to spar. He says okay, and he tells everyone to stand aside, and then makes his first mistake as he says, "Watch me beat these out-of-towners." His overconfidence is going to prove to be his undoing. The Northerner starts out in a generic northern hard stance, while the master in the maroon starts out with what looks like a southern dragon-style stance. They both start off pretty aggressively, but it's what happens within the first 5 seconds that's very instructive, right here. It's natural to want to face your opponent, however, at this point the Northerner has gotten locked up, so what he does is he turns over and kicks backward to give him some space. Let's watch that again in slow motion. And then our friend in the maroon makes a second mistake. He looks away. He's looking at his students for confirmation, almost as if to ask, do I really have to do this? Always, always keep your head in the fight, or you will lose it. At this point, each of these masters have taken at least a few hits, but only the Northerner manages to keep his composure. Right here, he gets struck, and he strikes back immediately, whereas the master in the maroon does not. Instead, the master in the maroon has lost his center, he's lost his balance, and at this point, it's all over except the shouting. The Northerner does go on to challenge other masters in Fo Shan, but we will leave the analysis of those fights for another day.